So it's the one who was dead. And then we gave him life by giving him al-Islam. And in addition to that, we gave him a nur, light, so that he can find his way. Allah gave him Islam and gave him the Quran. Bima fihi al-amr, take the Sunnah as well. And we gave him a light by which he can navigate in his life. What to do, what not to do, what's appropriate, what's inappropriate, when he makes a mistake, how to treat his mother and his father. Oh, he has a nur. If he wants to follow that nur, that's his business, but the nur is there. So the ayat said, is he like the one who is in darkness, dhulumat? He eats swine, he eats pigs, molests babies, he homosexual, bestiality. He doesn't know. He just doesn't know. He doesn't have Islam, he doesn't have nur. He just kills people randomly and it doesn't bother him. He has an agenda, and that agenda is just get rid of all of them. Kids, elderly, he doesn't have any, he's not a human being. Are the two of those the same? He completed the ayat by saying the kuffar and what they do, their deeds have been made alluring to them. They think what they're doing is okay. Making money, taking riba, doing whatever you want to do. They think, but there come a day where the person has to pay the price. This ayat is pointing first and foremost the companions. They were the first man. They were people who before al-Islam, they were amwat, they were dead. The things that the Arabs used to do before al-Islam, making shirk with Allah, the worst one. Similar to that, up there, the woman carries a baby for 9 months. She delivers the baby, and only because it comes out a girl, they put that baby in the dirt and bury him alive. I saw yesterday or today with what's going on in Syria. May Allah Ta'ala free Syria from the kafir who is over them. That zalim, that mujrim, who has killed many Muslims. May Allah get rid of that man and give, inshallah, Islam again back to the people of Syria. Islam of the Sunnah, not khurafat, Islam of the Sunnah. I saw they caught a man, put him in a hole, and they buried the man alive. And he was saying, La ilaha illallah, La, and the one who was burying him, they were all making istihza. I couldn't imagine being killed like that. Allah musta'an. They take the girl, put the girl in the dirt, and bury that girl alive. Give you an idea of how those Arabs were. And it gives you an idea when a person doesn't have Islam, even today, right now. You and me, if you don't have Islam, you're open to be crazy. Do anything. Do whatever you want. So those companions came into the religion after being dead. Everybody who was sitting here, your Islam, I'm a revert. Everybody sitting here, your Islam is not unique. There are companions who can always be pointed to, and your Islam is similar to the story that happened to those companions. There's no one sitting here who he has a unique story. It's unique unto you as an individual. It's unique unto you as an individual. But only the companions, only them. And this is one of the reasons why those companions have been made the blueprint for success. I keep saying that over and over again. I'm going to bring this home for you today in another of the many ways. Why are the companions our example? Because we don't have to now reinvent the wheel. We have the blueprint. Just look at what happened to them. Look how they accepted Islam. How did the companions accept Islam? One of the most important, and this is our responsibility as a community. And we're not exempt. And this is why it's not acceptable for the community like this to give what we gave in Sadaqah 2 weeks ago. Because we have a lot of responsibility in our religion, being Muslims. Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned in the Quran to Rasulullah in Surah Al-Furqan, which is a Meccan surah. He said to him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, فَلَا تُطِعِ الْكَافِرِينَ وَجَاهِدْهُمْ بِهِ جِهَادًا كَبِيرًا. Ya Muhammad, Don't pay attention and don't listen to the disbelievers. All of this kalam they got for you, they try to make you scared. They try to force things on you that are not from your religion. Don't be a chump. Don't be a punk. Don't be apologetic. Be wise. Be wise. But you have to have principles, man. We have to be people who have principles. You can't be that person who I'm a Muslim, but you want to hide Islam unnecessarily and you're embarrassed. Whenever the media or people say something about Islam, we want to apologize. We don't apologize about our religion. Ya Muhammad, don't obey, don't listen to those kuffar, and wage jihad against them, the major jihad. This ayat, Surah Al-Furqan, is a Meccan surah. Jihad had not even been legislated. There was no jihad in Mecca. Why and how would Allah tell him make major jihad? Because the jihad that this ayat is talking about is make jihad against the kuffar with the Quran, ya Muhammad. Use that Quran and make sure that these non-Muslims know about this religion. Use that Quran, not only for them to accept Islam, but also for them to understand who you are, what kind of people you are. Why are you hardwired like that? So I want to mention, how did they accept Islam? They accepted Islam through the Quran and through jihad. This is important. Those companions embraced Islam through the Quran and through the jihad. He mentioned sallallahu alaihi wasallam to his companions and to us, Jahidul kuffar bi anfusikum wa amwalikum wa bi alsinatikum. Wage jihad against the kuffar. Fight against them with your persons. Fight against them with your monies. Fight against them with your tongue. So when you're in a situation and there's no fighting, I'm not telling anybody here, and I don't want any of our shabab coming talking about, you mentioned Syria. I want to go to Syria. I want to go to Palestine. I want to go to Lebanon. I want to go to Iraq. All of these countries that these non-Muslims have jammed us up. I'm not telling you to go anywhere. I'm saying in our condition right now, we make dua for those people, but we can make jihad by giving our money to help Islam. We can make jihad by giving dawah ilallah. So as it relates to this issue, it's really important, Ikhwani. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not waste any opportunity to make sure that the Jews heard that Quran, that the Christians heard that Quran, that the mushrikeen of Quraysh and the Arabs in his environment, they heard that Quran. And he made sure that they heard that Quran. Not only those aqsam from the people, but even the jinn. He made sure that the jinn heard that Quran. And you can only imagine the amount of courage that it took for him to go out in the desert by himself and sit with jinn and read the Quran to them. You go back to Surah Al-Ahqaf and Surah Al-Jinn, Allah talks about what happened. قُلْ أُوحِيَ إِلَيَّ أَنَّهُ اسْتَمَعَ نَفَرٌ مِّنَ الْجِنِّ. Tell them, Muhammad, it has been revealed to me that a group of jinn, they came and they sat down and they listened to what I had to say. They listened to the Quran. They listened to it. They said, إِنَّا فَقَالُوا إِنَّا سَمِعْنَا قُرْآنًا عَجَبًا يَهْدِي إِلَى الرُّشْدِ فَآمَنَّا بِهِ وَلَن نُشْرِكَ بِرَبِّنَا أَحَدًا. Those jinn said, we have heard a recitation that is amazing, and we believe in it because we heard it, the jinn. We believe in it, and we became Muslims, and we're not going to make shirk with Allah. The Shahid, Rasulullah, ya Akhi Yunus, hey, Rasulullah, he made sure that the kuffar who were connected to him, they heard something about that Quran. Our community, no problem. I'm not here to put anybody down. We have a responsibility to make sure these kids in the university hear about that Quran. These non-Muslims who are walking up and down the streets of Orlando, oblivious to why they are created, or these malls. It's our job to make sure that they hear this Quran. So we as a community have to come up with a game plan to start giving dawah to these people so that they can hear the book of Allah Azza wa Jal. The Quran, jihad in the Quran. Listen to what the Prophet said about jihad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. قال عجب الله من أقوام يدخلون الجنة في السلاسل. Allah is amazed بطريقة تليق بجلالته. Allah is amazed in a way that befits His Majesty. Don't ask when, where, why, how. He is amazed. He's amazed at some people who will go into the Jannah and they're going to Jannah in chains. The meaning of that hadith? They were non-Muslims who fought against the Muslims. When the Muslims came and overwhelmed them and beat them, they were put in slavery. And once they went into slavery for the Muslims, they became Muslims. Some of them were freed, some of them not freed. So some of them died as slaves because they were in opposition to Islam. And although they died as slaves to human beings, they had the most important ubudiyyah, and that is, they became slaves to Allah. And they'll go into Jannah. That's jihad. Today, you see what's happening in Palestine? If I was a Palestinian, like I'm an African American, if I was a Palestinian, I'll be upset with our ummah to a certain degree. I would say to this ummah, that's all you can do for us. That's all. All of the Muslims in the world, 1.5 billion. That's all you can do for us. That's all we can do. That's the reality of Islam today. That's the reality of the Muslims today. That there's no jihad. There's no jihad. Not only is there no jihad, if a group of Muslims start getting oppressed, we can't do anything except make dua. And it's not just the hukam. They're part of the issue, no doubt, they're part of it, but it's us as well. It's us as well. Who's going to get up to make jihad when many of us can't make Salatul Fajr? We can't make 5 prayers in a day. And that's with no one bothering us. It's just get up and pray 5 times a day. That's very hard for the average person, from the ummah. So those companions became Muslims through jihad and the Quran. We have to imitate them in that. I'm calling on this community, Masjid As-Sunnah, no other community, that we have to up our game, our community, in terms of spreading the dawah of Islam and not being comfortable with just, we pray in the masjid 5 times a day and that's it. We pray Jumu'ah, we pray the Eid. It's more to being a Muslim than that. It's more to being a Muslim. Those people who are connected to us, we got to give them dawah to Allah. Another way the companions became Muslims and we become Muslims is through marriage. I know people in the audience who were married to people who were not Muslims, and because of the nikah, the person became a Muslim by Allah's permission. He mentioned in the Quran, وَالْمُحْسَنَاتُ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنَاتِ وَالْمُحْسَنَاتُ مِنَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ مُحْسِنِينَ غَيْرَ مُسَافِحِينَ وَلَا مُتَّخِذِي أَخْدَانٍ. Made halal for you Muslim men for marriage are the chaste Muslim women who are not married. You can also marry the women who were given the book before, Christians and Jews, as long as they are chaste. Don't take them as girlfriends and don't make zina with them. The ayat said, don't take them as girlfriends. You're married to a person who is a Jew or Christian, black, white, Latino. Who cares? Who cares? Islam allowed you to marry that lady in the hopes that you would guide her. So you can't have as the side chick, because if you have as the side chick, she's going to look at the situation and say, there's no difference between you and these other people. And if you do marry her, which you should, marry her instead of making zina, you got to treat her right so that her relatives will look at you and look at you as being a representative, an ambassador of Islam. Not you marry her just so that you don't make zina, which is a good thing. You marry her, but then you go to their house for Christmas, you do Thanksgiving, you do Halloween, you do Mother's Day, you do Valentine's Day. They're giving you dawah now. I say to you, by all means, be wise, be sociable, deal with them. But you are the one who has the light of Islam. Our man kana mayitan fahyaynahu. He was dead, now we gave him life. and we gave him a nur that he could. You have to use your nur. Now, that's as it relates to the men and the women. Men marrying Christian Jewish women. No problem. It's permissible. Call it to Islam. What about the opposite? What about some of our daughters or some of the Muslim women who have non-Muslim men who are boyfriends? Non-Muslim men who are husbands, even. Husbands. They say no. This is something that's not legislated in the religion. Our women are not halal for them under any circumstance. And their men are not halal for our women under any circumstance. Listen, you are a father and your wife. Your son, your daughter, your son, he likes somebody there in the university. He wants to marry that girl. And you're not helping the situation because, not because of her akhlaq, but because she's not from your country. She's not your ethnicity. I don't have a problem with that. Marry off those people who there is insijam between you and them. No problem, no problem. But you have to look at the big picture as well. The big picture is today. Our children are not going to listen to us if we're not cooperating with them. That old school tarbiyah, my way or the highway, will make tanfir of these kids. That's one of the quickest ways your son or daughter will leave your house and go live by themselves. So if you find that they found someone who's a decent human being, one of the sunnahs, one of the ways the companions became Muslims was by marrying those people off. There's a lady from the companions, Sulaim. Sulaim is the mother of Anas ibn Malik. She was a tremendous lady in Islam. One of the rich men from the Ansar, Abu Talha, he had a lot of money, the richest man from the Ansar of Medina. He came, he said, I want to marry you, Sulaim. Man has money. Sulaim didn't say, okay, no problem. Let's just go down to the Kafir judge and let's do it. Let's do it in secret. She didn't say that. She had principles, the woman. She didn't apologize. She said, listen, you're a Kafir, mushrik. I'm a Muslima, mu'mina, I'm a believer. That's haram. But I tell you what, if you accept Islam, that'd be my dowry. He said, I accepted Islam just to marry her. After marrying her, looking at how she was, looking at how her son was, looking at how the community was, looking at how Rasulullah was, Islam became beloved to that man. It became beloved to that man. Now is not the time to get deep into that story, but marrying people to be the key to cause them to come to Al-Islam is from what the companions used to do. Not only the companions, Rasulullah himself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He went and he conquered a number of Jews, the Jews of Bani Qurayza, and from them is our mother, Safiya bint Huyay, who was a Jew. May Allah be pleased with her. When he went in on her, he said to her, listen, you can be a captive like the rest of your people, or I'll give you freedom and I'll marry you. Without hesitating, she said, I'll marry you, Ya Muhammad. I'll marry you, Ya Rasulullah. She started respecting him right away. Rasulullah is trying to make a way with the Yahud. We're kinsmen now. It's the politics, it's the hikmah that he has. He looks at things way, way, way down the line. He looks at the end game. He looks at the big picture. Maybe these Jews will calm down if I marry one of their women. Not only that, but Sulaim, Safiya, may Allah be pleased with her, who was a beautiful woman. Safiya, this lady who was a Jew, she used to still connect to her relations who were Jews. Many of her relations became Muslims. The Jews didn't become Muslims for the most part, but the people connected to that lady became Muslims because their relative became a Muslim. So coming into Al-Islam and helping people to come into Islam, you can possibly do that. Instead of having a haram relationship with the girl, be honorable, be above board, go to her people and marry the lady. Do it the right way. And most of all, don't be a bad husband. Don't be a bad husband. How many of us have daughters who are married and we say, I wish I would have never married my daughter to that guy? He was not what we thought he was. That guy is a monster. He has no karam, he has no taqwa, and he doesn't know how to treat people's daughters. How many of us are in that situation? How many of us? Well, if you marry one of those women and that's how we behave, drama, they're going to say, just like these hardcore, crazy people who are the irhabis, the terrorists, the rough and tough extremists, ISIS, Boko Haram. I don't apologize for jihad. No, there's a way to make jihad. And the way that those extremists do it is not the way. But anyway, now Muslims look at that and say, you see these Muslims? You see these Muslims? They look at us as their neighbors, the way we park here in this area. You see these Muslims? You see these Muslims? They look at us. They pay attention to us. Our neighbors, our co-workers. They look at us. Our teachers, our professors. They look at us. Who got caught cheating on the exam? The Muslim got caught cheating on the exam. Who's the one who's the joker, the knucklehead in the class? The Muslim is the knucklehead. Who's the one who's always failing? Always being disruptive, always, it's the Muslims. They say, if Muhammad was so good, why do they behave like this? We don't think Muhammad is good. So giving people dawah and helping them to come to al-Islam, az-zawaj is zawaj. Last one I want to mention today, and this is important, is the zakat. You know the zakat is the third pillar of al-Islam, the zakat. And it's always mentioned in the Quran and the Sunnah, those who make salat and they give zakat. Zakat is important. In this office, if you sit in that office on any given day, that phone will ring. The vast majority of people who are calling are muhtajun, people who need money. I need money for the rent. I need money for my car. I need money to get to work. I need money. It never stops. And you know, this masjid used to give money. But then we realize we can't be on every ship that leaves the dock. We can't be like, and then the person comes from our community and needs money, and there's no money because everybody's coming to Masjid As-Sunnah. We had to stop that. We had to stop. But that's where you guys come in terms of helping the masjid to help the community. Listen to the issue of zakat. Third pillar of Islam, the third pillar. There are 8 categories of people who can receive the zakat. 8. Surah At-Tawbah. إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين والعاملين عليها والمؤلفة قلوبهم. Allah mentioned these 4 people. Zakat is for 8 people. Of the 4 people I just meant, zakat is permissible for the one who is referred to in the Quran, al-mu'allafa qulubuhum. People who are inclined to Islam. They're interested in Islam, or you're trying to get them interested in Islam. He has a good heart, and you give him money, your zakat. Your zakat. You give him $500, $1,000 from your zakat. Your zakat that you pay in Ramadan. I think the masjid, Muslims, your relatives, they deserve that money more. They deserve it more. Your relatives, the masjid knows poor people, they deserve it more. And the fiqh is to give the zakat to the one who deserves it the most. But from those people who can get the zakat are these people. Kuffar. Kuffar. They have the right to get zakat. Or people who are new Muslims. Listen, there was a man from the companions. His name was Al-Aqra' ibn Hasib. He was a leader of a group of people who were kuffar, and he was a kafir. Rasulullah would have wars and give this man money, inclining him to Islam. At the Battle of Hunayn, Rasulullah gave that man 100 camels during that time. Imagine someone giving you 1 car today. 100 camels is a lot of money right now, not to mention back then. 100. He gave this man 100 camels, gave that non-Muslim leader 100 camels, gave that non-Muslim 100 camels, gave that one 100 camels. Aqra, and Aqra. He's the one who one time he was sitting with Rasulullah when Rasulullah was with Hassan Hussein, and he was kissing Hassan Hussein. He said, Ya Rasulullah, I have 10 children. I never kissed one of them. Rasulullah put the child down and looked him right in his eyes and said, "Man lam yarham, lam yurham." Whoever doesn't have mercy on others, Allah won't have mercy upon you. But you never kiss your kids. What kind of stuff is that? That's the toxic masculinity of the Arabs. And other people have it. Telling our kids, don't cry, don't cry. What do you mean don't cry? We have to be balancing that. That's this man, Al-Aqra ibn Hasib. Listen. He gave him 100 camels. He went back to his people. He said, hey, we need to accept Islam because Muhammad gives like a man who is not afraid of poverty. Those people, they came and said, we want to accept Islam. They said, we came to accept Islam just to get the money. We just wanted the money. But when we saw Prophet Muhammad, how he was, a gentleman, patient, easy, nice. He was clean. He was easygoing. He paid attention to people. They said when we saw the way he was, Al-Islam became more beloved to us than all our money and all of our children and everything else that we held to be important. So is zakat, your monies. Now, if you as a Muslim want to give zakat from your money, you do that. I will say, ask someone who you're connected to, who knows, because there may be other people around you who deserve your zakat money more than that non-Muslim. But I am here to say to this community, we have to give more money. We have to give more money for the dawah, not for any individual or group of individuals, so that our community will do the responsibility that's been placed on our shoulder. And that responsibility is not just to be satisfied with these four walls and I'm a Muslim. I recall that this Masjid As-Sunnah was not always here. Masjid As-Sunnah was someplace in some other kind of, but it left that place and now this is the situation. Is this all? This is where it stops at? Is that all? Some of you people have your businesses, and when it comes to figuring out your business and how to take it to the next level, to the next point, you have brilliant ideas. Your commitment is praiseworthy. But what happened to the hadith? None of you truly believes until I become more beloved to him than his children, his parents, and his own self. Religion has to be more beloved to us than our businesses. And I don't tell anyone to be muhmin, muqassir in your business. I just say, take that same energy and superimpose it upon our existence in this masjid. How many of these non-Muslims have heard al-Islam? How many of these non-Muslims who are coming to this masjid for Jummah? How many? That's our responsibility. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ونسأل الله تعالى التوفيق والسداد. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا وطيبا مباركا فيه وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أمة الإسلام, there's a lot of work to be done as it relates to our religion. You, Akhi Kareem al-Habib al-Ghali Abdul Fattah, it's not your job to get up here to do the khutbah to Jummah. It's not your job. Dr. Muhammad, it's not your job to do the adhan. You have someone who's doing that. It's not your job to be the mudir or the director. That's not your job, man. But it is everybody here's job to get in where you fit in to help the religion. I don't understand and I don't know this Islam of, well, I'm just going to be in the masjid and I'm going to pray 1 or 2 times. No, that's not the Islam is more than that. Islam is more than that. The light of Islam, the dawah of al-Islam, these people are in need of it. So let us do our job, inshallah, to try our level best to give these people the dawah, the real dawah of al-Islam. Not inviting them into the door. Like many masjids, they get invited and they come into the door. And because of what the people believe in that masjid, they come through the door of the masjid and then they jump out the window because they want to curse the companions. Because they want to worship Rasulullah. We don't want that. We want to bring these people in the door and let them come and learn about who Allah is and why they've been created. May Allah Ta'ala make us tools and utensils to spread his religion. And may he subhanahu wa ta'ala put us haqqan on the way of those companions. And may he cause those companions to be in our mind's eye, guiding lights and examples for us. Rahmatullah alaykum ajmain.